Okay, good evening, everybody. I'll now call the meeting to order. The first item is declaration of conflicts of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts they need to declare? Okay, so next is the adoption of the agenda. We've been asked to make a minor adjustment, simply swapping 5C1 and 5C2. So we'll do 5C2 first and then 5C1 afterwards. So do I have a motion to adopt the amended agenda? Moved by Deputy Mayor Savoy. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question? Question. We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the amended agenda show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next is the adoption of minutes, and they are from the February 3rd Committee of the Whole meeting. Do I have a mover to adopt the minutes in their current form? Moved by Councillor Jean Gras. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Murray. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the February 3rd Committee of the Whole meeting minutes, show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. So on to new business, and the first item is a service agreement. So, CEO Downey, are you wanting to give some background or?
Yes.
Okay.
I just noticed on your guys' screen, it has Councillor Martin listed as deputy mayor. So you just have to disregard that. We'll get that fixed on the back end. Sometimes it likes to do that on us. Okay, so as we had previously discussed about civic numbers being issued, we have reached out to the Kent Regional Service Commission to see if they could provide this service on our behalf. And we've come up with an agreement that I think is, it's a good agreement. And we've put forward a motion in order to sign this agreement, just because it's a 5-year contract. And the Kent Regional Service Commission would prefer that council make a motion. This also has to, it's been approved at the 911 office as well. So they'll probably appreciate seeing a motion as well.
So they're charging us by the number, right?
They're charging us per number issuance, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be a static price for the 5-year term that we agree to? Or?
Yes, increased by CPI each year.
Okay. Anybody have, I know we had concerns about our office absorbing that task, so it's nice that we have an option. Deputy Mayor Savoy.
Is that cost going to be passed on to residents, to the resident replying for the number? Because if we're looking at 100 or plus every year, that's a few $1,000s that we never budgeted for next year.
Yeah, so it's the cost is not going to be put onto the resident. It's in the Emergency 911 Act that it is the local government's responsibility to issue civic numbers. It seems like there is a cost that we didn't budget for. However, this includes, like, we're saving not having to buy the software and take the GIS training. So it will budget for it accordingly in 2027, but we will have to absorb the cost in 2026. No, there's no municipality that charges to issue a civic number to a house, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like based on last year's cost, what this year should be?
No, because it wasn't a cost to the municipality last year. It's been a cost at the
No, but I
provinces.
mean by the number that were issued last year. Do you know exactly how many were issued?
No, I wouldn't know how many numbers were issued last year.
Okay.
No.
Councillor Martin.
Hey. Just want some clarification on this. So this is your civic numbers for your properties, et cetera.
Yes.
So this is their signage?
No, this isn't the signage. This is
just
actually the issuance of the,
Okay.
so residents would still submit their application when they're doing a building permit. Before MB Power will hook them up, they need a civic number. So they would submit that to us.
Okay.
and we would have the Kent Regional Service Commission. They have one dedicated employee that does that for the Kent service, or the Kent region. We had gone, if it's okay, just I'll elaborate. We had requested that our service commission, so Southeast Regional Service Commission, take this on for us as part of the permit process. However, they said that they don't have the capacity. And I was speaking with some colleagues and they said, why don't you check with, our commission? So the clerk had reached out to Kent Service Commission and came up with this.
Okay, and they are comfortable that they have adequate staffing to?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay. Anyone else? Councillor Jean.
Is this unusual that a municipality uses another regional service to provide a service such as this?
I don't know of another municipality that uses a different service commission,
Okay,
but our service commission just simply does not offer that service. So just a little bit of background, most municipalities that had been established before reform, they had somebody in-house that did this. So, depending on how the municipality operated, you could send out your public works to do a distance. So they would drive a distance between this driveway and that driveway. And there's a formula, and then you submit it into 911 for their approval, and then Canada Post. So this is a little unusual because we've never been issuing them. The province has been continuing that. And what I'm told from I don't know if it's Mr. McKinnon, I'll say, with 911, is that it was never intended for the province to continue this service. We have been pushing it off, and they have been continuing the service, but they have cited the Emergency 911 Act that it is our responsibility as a local government to provide the service.
okay.
Yeah.
I know this isn't the first time that we've gone to our own RSC and asked them to provide a shared service among the municipalities, and I would ask that perhaps at the next meeting that the mayor make a point of bringing up that we had to go somewhere else for a service, and perhaps put a little fire under their butts. Thanks.
So I appreciate your comment, but on that particular item, since most municipalities do it for themselves, I'm kind of not sure that they're required to supply the service, since most of the municipalities in the Southeast already do it for themselves. We're expected to do it for ourselves, and we have a small staff, and if we could find an alternate solution, then that helps. But if we're the only municipality in the Southeast asking for that service, I'm not really sure that it's, I guess, I get what you're saying, that it would have been nice because they're doing the building permits anyway, and it would have been helpful, probably less steps for the residents. But if we're the only ones asking and there's, 13 of us with the LSD, like even the LSD didn't ask for it. So, I can kind of see why they didn't jump right up and say, yeah, we're going to do that. So,
I'm just concerned that they are a regional service commission and that they are supposed to provide regional services, and that this could easily be one of those services that they provide, just like the Kent Regional Service Commission does.
sure. Councillor Murray.
I just wanted to make a point, just for anybody watching or listening. Last year it was like 101 building permits that we had, so that's probably, if anyone's wondering how many it is, it's probably 101 or so.
Yeah, around
for
the number
civic
of
numbers.
building
point.
permits. Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
Councillor Martin.
I forgot to ask earlier, just out of curiosity on this, are there any other organizations that have the capability of doing this?
Organizations, no.
No?
No,
So it's
most
either in-house or
municipalities do it, yeah.
Service commission.
And it's the importance of it to be pretty precise. It's important for, obviously, first responders.
Oh, absolutely.
First responders know the different areas that they go, that, we're gonna be skipping 2 numbers, so if you give a number that's way off, it could delay that response time. So it's important that somebody that has been doing it and is well-trained. I don't know if I said this earlier, but the Kent Regional Service Commission does it as part of the building permit process. So they do this continuously for, I'm pretty sure, every municipality within that region.
Okay. And my last and final question for you is, a lot of the programs that we're asked to take on, some tax funds, except generally will come along with that if it was done by the province. Are there any funds from the province in this one, or is it we're on our own?
No, it's basically you're welcome that we've continued to do the service.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, CEO.
So I'll just add the other concern that I would have with us taking on this service is if you make a mistake and you put the numbers too close together, then you have to renumber homes, and that's a problem for the residents too. So I'm happy to hear that, not that I don't think that the ladies in our office could have handled the task, but I'm happy to hear that somebody that does it, that's their full-time job, is able to do it for us and maybe avoid a situation like that, because nobody wants to change their address when they didn't
No,
move.
Certainly not. No.
Okay, oh, Deputy Mayor Savoy.
I just want to address, not Deputy Mayor, Councillor Gingras, you're concerned about the RSC. Mayor Warren and I had a meeting with UM&B, and they're looking at advocating to the province, either ELG or the service commissions themselves, to have a uniformity of service offered throughout the province. Probably in a couple of years in the process, but that's something that is coming out of this anyways.
Thank you. Okay, so if there's nothing else on that service agreement, we can move to the grant requests. And the first grant request on the list is for the Lakeville Community Center. CEO Downey, are you giving us the background on these, or?
Yes, yep. So this is another request from the Lakeville Community Center, for $500 to go towards, an electronic programmable sign, an outdoor board. We received the request from them, and I'm just putting it forward to council. I will remind council in the past, and it's completely council's decision. You guys have made a decision in the past to not help on any capital expenses, that it was more programming related. However, it is your guys' policy and it is up to you.
Any questions on this grant, folks? Okay, if no one's gonna raise, I did ask earlier today, do we know if they got a quote so that we know what the cost of the sign would be?
I believe that the total cost of the sign is $800.
Okay,
I can't say for sure that.
that,
where that
I
quote
did
came
see in
from.
the
It just-
request that it said 800, but I just wondered, is that a quote, or was that just a number that they were kind of budgeting for?
I can't say that it specifies that it's a 40 by 17 inches sign. So I suspect that somebody gave them that number for 800.
Okay,
Yeah.
Councilor Murray?
I also just want to make a comment that the request was for 800. They were hoping for the
Oh,
full
sorry.
amount, not for 500. I understand we've typically leaned towards, actual programming and stuff. This is a way for them to, potentially help their programming where it is, for events, they get more signage and more viewership and stuff for it. So, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's not out of the realm of what we kind of do sometimes, where it is to help promote their events. So,
Okay. Councilor Gingras?
Yeah, much like Councillor Murray, I'm not opposed to granting this request, but it's more along the lines of they do have 800 written, and we've never exceeded the $500 maximum. So I would ask that we stay within that. Thanks.
Okay. Councilor Martin?
Well, I agree with what CAO Downey has mentioned in regards to, I guess, using this particular grant policy for infrastructure and where we've turned that down in the past. I mentioned before this meeting that I would hear what the other councillors have to say on it as I've in between decisions. And what Councillor Murray and Councillor Gingras have said, the signage would go to helping the local community there as far as knowing what's going on with available programming, which is what this grant application essentially is for. I don't see any issue with it, but I am in agreement with Councillor Shongra that we stay within our $500 limit for this one.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Okay, so if it's okay, what I'll do is I'll go back to her just because Councillor Jangara mentioned that it was for 800 and I have that marked on the sheet. And on her application, it says that they have 0 to contribute, so I'll go back and make sure that if council is contributing 500, that they have the means to come up with the other 300. And we'll have that answer for time for the motion.
Okay, and just because I asked at the beginning, can you just confirm that they did get a price? And like, I don't want them to get in a position where they thought it was 800, but it's 1,000 and
Okay.
it's not enough. And I just want to make sure that they're ready when we're ready to, if they need to pull it back and wait till they raise a little money because it is more, that's fine too. I'd rather see them in a position where they can actually use it for what it's needed for and get that sign up.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the next grant is for the Maple Hills Homestead and Market.
Yes, so this request came in back in the 1st of January. And I let the applicant know that it would be, just because there's no deadline, like no drop dead deadline for that it would come forward with the rest of the April requests. And I actually did go back to the applicant first to find out if there were any not-for-profits that use it or not, but for the purpose of this market stand, I guess we'll say, for people that are listening that don't know what it is. So it's a shared farm stand, for local vendors to showcase, what they're selling. So these are local vendors, and one of the reasons that I wanted to put this one forward, is because it does align with council's strategic plan to, encourage small business and sustainable growth for the community. Again, doesn't necessarily fit with the grant policy, but I did feel that it was warranted to come forward to council for consideration.
So the grant applicant is here. Does anybody have an issue if we give her the floor if she'd like to address council? Did you want to address council?
Sure, so,
Oh, if we can just get you to go to the mic, because if you don't go to the mic, then the live stream doesn't, yeah. The live stream can't hear you.
Can you turn hers on for her?
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's a shared farm stand for locals, and we have a lot of talent in our community, and this year coming, I have a wait list of vendors and not enough space to accommodate all of them. And basically, the grant would be to help expand, weatherproof, make sure, nobody has soap melting in the sun kind of thing. And I have a special place in my heart for kids, so I always try to have something for the kids. And this year I want it to be educational, plant a seed and take it home with you kind of thing. But I'd like to make a spot dedicated to, where our food comes from and plant the seed, take it home with you. Like, we have a good opportunity here to stretch this grant among many people in Maple Hills. It can really reach a lot of families and help a lot of people. So that is why I applied.
Okay. So first we have Deputy Mayor Savoie.
Before I say anything, I just want to let you know, I sent an email to CAO Downey today asking if I should recuse because Ms. Balmer is my opponent in the election. I didn't want to make it seem like I had any sway, good or bad, for this. My question is, like CAO Downey mentioned, we usually only donate to nonprofit. I just want to make sure that when we don't create a precedent in the community, is this for like a personal business for you? Is it your
It's registered
livelihood?
as a business, sorry for interrupting, but it runs on a cost recovery basis. So any profit from the stand goes back into the stand. And I'll give you an example. I had a little bit of money left over because I do take a small consignment fee for upkeep. And I used it at the end of the year last year to buy QR codes that hold business cards for all the vendors so that when they went out to their Christmas markets, they could take it with them. And with a tap of a phone, they had people following them. And then they had their own customer base to sustain them through the winter while I'm not open.
Okay, so if you were granted the grant, would it be written out under your name or under Maple Hills Homestead?
It would be written under both.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm satisfied.
And for what it's worth, Mark, I'm just running for Ward 3 because it's where I live, but I think
No, no,
you've done a fantastic job.
Listen,
I've
I
heard
believe in democracy.
lots of great things about
So,
you, so.
okay, so we can't campaign at the council meeting, though.
Okay.
Councilor Martin.
Good day. I'll start by saying I've gone there, I've bought things. My neighbors put stuff there, and I will go back for sure.
Yeah, Debbie,
Yeah, Deb. Side note, if anyone needs dog trees. Yeah, so you heard me a minute ago talking about the signage and the infrastructure that we talked about last time.
yes.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of hold the grant process kind of on high yields. Going through what you submitted here, I like what you had to say about doing stuff with the kids and creating things for the community, which is that's the spirit of what this whole grant process is specifically for. If this is awarded, can you explain a little bit further on things you would do? Because you say like educational signage, like learning display, like what do these things specifically entail? Because to me, that's more community orientated for people that are going to come type of thing versus like the display shelving, stuff like that. That's more infrastructure based on a business side of it, I guess. So I'm more interested on what the effects will be that you'll be putting out there that'll actually pull people into learn, et cetera.
That's a great question, Councillor Martin. I teach sustainable living, and what I want the signage for is to kind of show, especially to kids, where our food comes from, like locally in Maple Hills, and more education about sustainable living, because we actually have enough people and enough skill sets here that we can be a sustainable community, and we don't need the big box stores as much as we think we do. And that's what I mean by signage. I want to showcase, like, you know, how, like, where your food is coming from, how it starts, and how it ends up on your plate.
Okay, so it's not just advertising.
No,
Okay.
certainly not. It's really educational, mostly for kids.
Okay, okay, perfect, thank you.
Councilor Jagra.
I guess my concern is that it doesn't quite fall under what we've approved for grants before. And, you know, I think it's a worthwhile initiative. It's just perhaps there's another way that we can help. Or, you know, every year we re-examine our grant policy, and perhaps there's another, you know, maybe this year when we re-examine it, it's something that we take into account. It's just that I don't think it was ever meant for like a company. It was always meant for nonprofits and for mostly for kids. And I understand you have that sort of vein, that helping kids out vein. So maybe it's a case of just rewording the grant in some way. But that's where I'm at.
That's fair.
So I will agree that as we've gone through this, that I agree with what you're trying to do, and I like the idea, and I think we have to review the grant policy. We need, as a council, whatever that looks like in the coming year, we need to review this grant policy. And maybe we need to split it so that we are doing two separate things, because I think this is something that we all want to support. But I think we're all sitting on the fence because we know it's not really what the policy outlines as what we should be using the grant money for. That said, I could see us approving the 200 for the educational signage and the chalkboard and learning display, because that does actually, it's not part of the business. It's not part of your capital in your business, i.e. your signs and your weather protection. It's actually, you know, trying to engage the public. It's trying to teach. It's trying to get people coming back, understand why they should be coming back. So I think on us, we should review the grant we should have it on a list of to-dos to review this grant policy and see what we can do in the future to maybe the policy is split in half, and half is for this kind of thing, and half is for what our policy currently exists for. Maybe our budget looks different next year. But I think we all want to do this, but I think we all can agree that part of it doesn't really sit where the policy lies. So that would be my recommendation. Councillor Murray.
Another person, obviously, that I walk down, I think, every week, and with the dog and the daughter and the girlfriend. So I think it's a great spot. Every time I'm there, you're seeing people that you've never seen before in the community. And like I said, I think anytime that you can promote local things, makes Maple Hills a better spot. So, but I'd be on the same thing with the educational signage and stuff. So when kids show up, you can promote that too. But you know, when you can get kids knowing where it comes from, and where, you know, pictures of the farms or wherever, that they can know exactly where all the stuff comes from. So I think it's a great idea. So.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Boomer? Deputy Mayor Savoie.
Just want to piggyback on what you both said and what Councillor Jean said. I know it's getting close, and next month is our, not next month, in 2 weeks is our last council before elections and our last chance to approve this. Is there a way this could be redrawn and have a little higher for the educational part than for the actual hardware?
Sure.
I don't know how else to explain it.
No, I'd love
But
that.
I think there would be a better chance for, to receive funds,
Yeah.
to just, according to what
I'll just-
everybody seems to be saying.
I'll just add that, we don't, it is in our policy for us to decide what we're going to offer.
Yeah.
So we don't have to offer the full amount. Like, we can still offer some and not all without. Yeah.
But if she increases the amount for what she's written down for educational purposes, we could afford, offer more, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Councilor Martin.
I'm just want to state, because we're doing this right now, I agree with what Mayor Warren has said. I like the idea of the funds going towards educational purposes for the community, the kids. I know a ton of kids go there as well. And the term piggyback, I'll do the same thing. This policy is fairly strict on what can and cannot be accepted, but it does need rework. There's no question about it. We've seen it multiple times where it doesn't quite fit, but we do need something in place that also helps support local businesses. So we're not caught in this in between, but I am in support of the funds that are listed here for the educational signage, et cetera, not the display or anything that goes actually into the business infrastructure side of it.
Okay. All right. So does anybody have any other questions for Ms. Boomer? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So if I'm getting this right, we will put it back on we'll put it on the agenda for April 17th. I will leave the amount blank, and it will be up to an individual counselor to bring it forward for a
With the
certain amount.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the Maple Hills Safety Advisory Committee, and this is the topic where we've swapped 5 5C1 and 5C2 on the paper agendas that we had.
Yep.
So the emergency measures coordinator will be up first.
Love it when I mess up council agendas. Good evening. Okay, the next three items, this one and the next two are all basically tied together. So we'll start with what the committee came up with. The committee has been ongoing, as you know, in reviewing a number of things in terms of emergency measures.
Sorry, Jim, can I just get you a little closer to the mic? Just, we're live streaming, so
Okay,
they
sorry about
probably
that.
can't hear you.
So what they have done is reviewed all of the stuff we've been doing to date. It goes to them, they make a recommendation, comes to council, council reviews it, and then it can implement it. So the latest we're talking about now is the procedure, the last piece that we're after. So to cover where that went, just as an update to council, when we started this from the day one, we set a number of goals in my targeting and your targeting. So what we achieved was we have our incoming communication and notification resolved. We have the phone system, you saw the radio system. We have run cards now for the duty managers. So we have incoming knowledge. We now have the manuals produced. We're ready. We're just tying them down with phone numbers. So we have the operational side of it. What we don't have is now we have all this information. What do we do with it? And how do we tell the public? So we looked at communication systems. What's the best possible way that we can hit the most number of people quickly, efficiently, and Facebook did not qualify. Let's just cover that right off the bat. So then we looked what everyone else is doing. Most of the people are using a company called Voyant Alert. We seriously looked at that and looked at the options we had, and then we said, well, let's get some information on it. So we approached Lackey Agency and said, what do you guys know? And Mr. Lackey and I contacted Voyant Alert directly and said, if we're going to entertain in our committee, what can we do? We don't want Voyant Alert. We would like Maple Hills Alert or MH Alert, something that is ours. They said, oh, we'll do that for you. So most of the issues we had for personalization of that program, they agreed to. The next thing that they were talking about, and we've talked about, was how do you get the people to go? The cost is $5,000–6,000 a year. I think it's $4,900 or something to actually join up to Voyant Alert and have access. The problem is you spend $5,000 a year, and how do you get it out there? So you can't just say, that's it, I hope it works. We talked to them, and they said, if you have a campaign, you can get up to 40–45%. If you do nothing, you get 10% at best. We did some searching, and we looked at Fundy Albert, who have got less than 10% after 3 or 4 years because they're not using it. There's no advertisement, there's no forward marketing, no posters, no website, that stuff. Tantramar now has one. I went and looked at it. It's front page on their website. It's pretty easy to do. That's the stuff that we were talking about. So at that point, we basically solicited a proposal to say, hey, what can we do? So Lackey Agency, who Derek is here in a few minutes to ask your questions, said, here's the way we could do it. We then said, how do you do it? And that's the proposal that you have in front of you now. And that's the last piece of our puzzle. So once we resolve that, how do we get the information from this room in an emergency to the people that we need to tell what to do? Evacuate, stay, run, whatever we want them to do. That's the piece we haven't finished yet. The only other thing after all of that, of course, is that let's test the process and teach. The original planning I was going to teach this council has been deferred because you have an election. And I would just as soon teach once rather than twice, particularly if it's all the same people. All right, so that's where it is. So those are the only 2 outstanding items. So council, or the committee on that basis said, hey, we have to get this done. There's no point in putting it off and putting it off. We've got all the stuff, it's in position, it's running, we're ready to go. Can we move on it? So the recommendation to you folks is to approve it. And on that note, if I may, I would just like to let Mr. Lackey speak about it and answer your questions on that. Unless you have questions of me on the safety committee or where we're at.
Questions for Mr. Lindsay? Councillor Jean.
I'm just wondering, because I haven't heard anything about costs for the plan, so I'm just wondering if there's,
The cost for the Voyant Alert?
no, for the plan. Like, was this plan all just put together? Like the plan that Mr. Lackey is going to be presenting.
Yes, he presented it to the safety committee,
Okay,
and they kicked it around for quite a while. And, you know, my recommendation to you, I had started it. I'm looking for a method to complete this project. That's why Mr. Lackey got involved. That is his business. And we've had some success in what Voyant told us and what Mr. Lackey told us. So
Okay.
he presented it. I believe the numbers are in your proposal. And
I
I'll let
just
him,
wanna-
if I can let him explain those numbers, because I don't want to.
perhaps I missed something, but is there,
So there is
Okay.
a page, yeah. And we did discuss it briefly at a previous meeting.
okay,
It is it's not
You
counting.
mean for the work that's already done, or for the work that's to come?
Page 15.
okay. So none of this has taken place yet? It's a proposal?
It's come to us for recommendation to proceed with Mr. Lackey's rollout proposal.
Thank you.
No questions for Mr. Lindsay? We can let Mr. Lackey address us? Okay.
We picked numbers that we thought we could live with without buying media. So.
Without what, sorry?
Buying media.
Oh, okay.
So in the more mature Void Alert programs that have hit a wall of like 50 or 60% of the residents have signed up, their next stage is to buy media, buy radio, buy newspaper, and get it out that way. We're trying to go with the smallest dollar we can and get everything free that we can. But there are certain production things that, like making signs and banners like that one, that just cost money, and we need to have a small budget for it. And nothing will be spent without the completed admin team agreeing that that's the best for Maple Hills. You have a very difficult communication in this village, or in the rural community, only because it's so spread out. So doing mail drops and posters in the right locations in the stores and the post offices, I think we just got to really get focused on it. And then we need some production money to be able to do it properly.
Okay.
The other key to this is the messaging. So what we ran into on a couple of programs that we've done like this, including Fundy Albert, was calling the program Void Alert. Nobody gives a damn. They don't care. They walk right by the table, they completely ignore you. But if it's Maple Hills Alerts or MH Alerts, they're going, oh, that's me. Tell me more about this. But, you know, we were at markets with the Fundy Albert. We were at live, like the Christmas market, with a table getting people to sign up. It was like pulling teeth. And this is a free service for the community that the council is, you know, trying to. The other thing is there's going to be 3 levels of alerts. There's going to be the emergency, there's going to be council communication, and then there's going to be general communication for the public. Like there's a market on, or there's, right? So what I know for sure is if you leave it to its own devices, you couldn't expect single-digit sign-up in the first year. And what we're going to try to use the $10,000 for is to seed a campaign for the full year, everything free we can, and see where we're at that point. And we'll sit down and assess whether you need to buy media. Like you guys are in a perfect situation because you can buy Moncton media and reach your residents through radio stations and local newspapers. Fundy Albert didn't have that.
Okay. Councillor Murray.
I know you have the original, like the first year, the you know, getting it off the ground budget. Do you foresee like a budget for every other year to kind of keep the growth? Like if for some reason I think he had mentioned like 40% if you do a campaign, you'll get about 40% of the residents to sign up instead of 10% of the residents. To grow it to, 50, 60, 70, 80, like, is there a proposal for like every year we have to have a budget of $2,000 to keep on trying to build this up? Because the way I know most things work is if you just do an initial campaign and then you just stop after the first year, you're probably not going to grow anymore anyways. It'll probably just die off. So I just didn't know if there was like in your guys' mind as a marketer, if it's something you thought we were going to have to spend money on every single year going from here on out.
Yes, although the messaging and some of the production will already have been taken care of.
Yeah.
We might recommend in year 2 to start buying some media and really kind of juice it.
Okay.
But that would be another proposal that we would bring to you. We'll keep on getting as much of the free stuff as we can.
Okay.
And, I know Jim mentioned that Facebook is not a good strategy, but it is one of the tools we can use to reach some of the population in Maple Hills. And we can boost it. So we can use a few dollars to actually boost the messaging beyond the Maple Hills connections,
Okay.
the council connections.
I guess my other question is, and maybe it's not directly towards you, but like, is there a provincial service for this stuff when there's like an emergency, or is it just if we don't have anything, we're done? We don't, like, nobody in Maple Hills gets.
The provincial service we have is what you saw in the fire.
Yes.
It's us getting information from them and
Okay,
sharing it
that's
as
just
best we can.
what
Yeah.
I wanted to check. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Now,
if there was like
obviously, if it were a provincial emergency, then it would be kind of more like a COVID situation where
Yeah.
they would, but they're, as far as them communicating on our behalf, if we have needs for communication,
Yeah.
that's not really their wheelhouse.
Nope, sounds good. Thank you.
So to bluntly answer your question, yes, you should be trying to grow this list every year.
Councillor Jean
So I'm just wondering how much of this have we budgeted in the budget? Like, how much money is there for this?
So this year, we had budgeted for Voyant Alert, so we knew going into 2026, the cost of what Voyant Alert was going to cost.
Okay.
So we budgeted 5,000 for Voyant Alert. We did not budget for the rollout part that Lackey Agency is looking at for us. We do have funds in the emergency measures training budget that would cover this cost.
Okay.
But part of the reason why the committee just didn't make the recommendation and me as the treasurer said, well, we've got the money, was because I need council to be on board, especially going into an election. If we had 3 new councillors around this table and, June 1st, they say, oh, where's our emergency measures? Well, I spent it all, I'm sorry. So I wanted this budget request to come back to council.
Okay.
Councillor Murray? Councillor Martin, sorry.
I'm getting all kinds of names today. In regards to CEO Downey, in regards to the budget on this, you mentioned we do have the funds in another portion. Do we foresee anything for the remainder of the year that we are going to need this for? I know the unforeseeable emergency, but anything that outside of an emergency?
No, so it's kind of the second part to what I just said is if there's a time where something comes up, obviously in an emergency situation, if we have to, for some reason buy water, let's say, and we're faced with a $5,000 bill, we're never not gonna do something when it's an emergency. It's just me coming back to council with my tail between my legs and saying, can we use some reserved money? If I don't have it somewhere else in the budget to cover it, if it came to that, it's me coming back to council saying, you know what, we're gonna fall $5,000 short. Can we take money out of reserve rather than falling in a deficit? However, I feel that we have a good budget. We're not ever gonna see a deficit. But in an emergency situation, we're gonna proceed with a budget or an expense It just means coming back and digging into reserve funds.
Okay.
But no, I can't foresee it's the same. I don't even like to use the word wildfire, but if we had a situation where, you know, we were gonna have to pony up money for something, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna look at after, okay, where is this gonna come from out of the budget?
I think we can all agree from the fire emergency from last year that being able to communicate with the public was huge, trying to dispel any wrong information or trying to give people answers to make themselves more comfortable with what is going on, to know they're safe. We are very tight on when it comes to budget and spending. I think that's well known. What kind of, like, I know we have everything here, what kind of rollout specifically? Is just putting up flyers? Are you guys going to be out at different centers? What?
Yeah, and meeting with like ATV clubs
Okay.
to say, you know, you need to promote this MH Alert program
Yeah.
to all of the constituents, your constituents, and in an emergency, you could even be door knockers. We did that in Fundy, Albert.
So you'll also be
We had the
reaching out to local
snowmobile club
groups.
and the ATV club both agreed that in an emergency, in an evacuation, they would go literally door to door. Because the fact is, given the nature of the people here in Maple Hills, you're not going to get 100% sign up.
No.
But if you could get the bulk of it, my God, Doug, your emergency services and all your communication to the villagers, it transforms. But it's going to take some hard work. It's going to take some rigor and sensible messaging. And I believe in, having now gone through it with Fundy Albert, that calling it Voyant Alert and not having a sustained campaign is killing that program. And people are signing up and they're not getting messages. And so part of our program will be to work with the team to have a cadence for messages. If people sign up, they want to hear from you, right?
Now, in regards to, you mentioned possibly calling it Maple Hills Alert. I know last time we spoke about this, Void Alert has their own app, et cetera.
Yeah.
Would it be the same thing with as an app people can check?
Well, actually, we would pull the app out of all the advertising that scares people. So having those big app and go to the app store, notices on the bottom of all the promotional material for Void Alert, I think it scares people away. You don't have to have an app. You can just have a text sent to you, or you could have a voicemail sent to your home phone. So if you're a complete Luddite, you do still have a home phone. And your way of getting messages from the village or from council is a phone call to your home phone where they leave a pre-recorded message. So you get 3 choices, 4. You got 4. I'm recommending for our program that we take the 4th off, the app. Don't promote it. Only the kids like those, and even they are annoyed by them. They'll get a text, thank you very much. You got text, internet, email, or voice recording. Those are your 3 options to signing up. And you can pick multiple places. So you could put your home postal code in, but you could also put your kid's school, because you want to know if there's any kind of emergency alert around the school, you would get that message, as well as to anything around your home. So it's a very, very good program. We costed out doing a separate email program, a separate SMS text program, and managing it ourselves. It's actually more expensive than buying Void Alert. By the time you pay for all the various platforms you need and tie it all together, it's actually cheaper to buy Void Alert.
I will be very clear. I like the idea of Void Alert. I'm not sold on cutting out the app by any means, because especially people involved in emergencies, you get a quick message, then you're left scrounging for more information. I would like the possibility to potentially play with the app and actually see what it is before we agree on anything. But no, I appreciate you explaining all that and appreciate your point of view and everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Savoie?
My concern is not the validity of the program or the goodness of the program. I buy into that. For me is the total cost of the launch. Here you have $9,500. Is that a firm price? Is that your offer?
No, no. We had to make something up to put in front of you that we thought would give us the money for a 6 to 12-month sustainable program as cheap as we could do it. That's where that number came from.
Because I see here you have
See,
like
it's-
$3,000 for volunteer, basically. What do you need volunteers for?
And it may not go there. We may buy 5 of those instead and
Okay.
have them
Because we can't.
located in the right
we
places.
We can't justify spending $10,000 on maybes.
Got it.
We'll have to know exactly
Got
what
it.
it's going for if we were to spend that money. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
And not a nickel would be spent without sitting down and actually doing the go-to-market plan. I didn't want to do it in 2 stages, where you pay us to do the plan and then you have an execution part of it as well. But we could certainly do it that way. Commit a little bit, but you know that if we're gonna sit down with the staff and create a full-blown go-to-market plan and price it all out, that's gonna take some time and effort.
So I would say, I would agree with Councillor Martin that spending all this money on software that has an app and telling people not to use the app doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
What we saw in both cases of rural communities is that as soon as they saw the app, oh, that's too complicated for me.
Okay.
So they, you
And
know,
look, I'm not opposed to, I agree with you. There are a
We can-
number of people that are gonna be happy to get a message on their home phone, and that's all they get, and but I don't think that we should say, don't use the app. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that one.
Yeah, I'll back down on that, but don't make the app as dominant as Void Alert does in their promotional materials. We're gonna get to Art Direct, Void Alert. We're gonna get the messaging exactly the way we want it for Maple Hills. Not their generic package, which have these big, app store messages on the bottom. We really did see it freak people out. Oh, an app, I don't want it. And then now you're busy explaining, well, you don't have to use the app, you can just get a text or you can just get an email. But you shouldn't have to explain that. So if it was my decision entirely, I'd take the app off in the initial wave.
Okay, so I would also agree with what Councillor Martin said about we are a very, it's no secret, we're a very frugal council, and we're okay
Yes.
with that. We own that, and we're happy with that. So, again, when I first saw this, I was really quite surprised that, all along going into budget deliberations last year, it was, we should think about Void Alert, it's gonna be about $5,000. So this $10,000 expense was definitely not something we expected. But I was uncomfortable with some of the numbers on the budget. I mean, so for one thing, printing posters, flyers, and brochures, we know from doing newsletters that's quite costly, so I don't think that number is probably high enough. But there's a line item on here for field equipment for us to purchase tablets to do field registrations, and as Councillor Martin said, a line item for volunteer appreciation. I'm all for volunteer recognition, but using our EMO budget, that seems a little, there's a quarterly strategic review that's gonna be $1,000 a year. I just, and then to have you say that, well, I had to just put some numbers in front of you, that makes me a little less comfortable, I'm not gonna lie.
We had to get a budget.
Okay, but.
We had to do a rough assessment. To do a full-on go-to-market plan and price it is a lot of time and effort. Happy to do it and come back to you with that phase one, but know that you're going to have to spend money on phase two. You're going to have it, if you buy this program and don't
And I don't,
maintain a campaign,
I don't think anybody has any, we understand that we're gonna have to put the time and the money in to get, again, it was like, surprise, here's your $10,000 bill to get Voyant Alert off the ground that we weren't expecting. And again, have a budget that says, well, we just threw some numbers out, we don't really, this audience is just not receptive to that type of a presentation, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Lucky that's you.
I guess as a council, maybe, I would agree with CAO Downey. I don't want to see the whole budget go in, one thing, and then if we need something else, like, it's quite a balance to, I know we have to spend some money to roll it out, but that's, to take the whole budget and put it in one place, that's alarming for me, I guess. Sorry, go ahead.
if year two does require paid media, you're going to be very alarmed at that bill. To run radio and newspaper and even maybe spot TV ads. That would be a big number. That's the big number we're trying to avoid. We didn't come to you and say you got to go do media right now. Let's take everything free that we can get. Let's do as much in the initial launch for as little dollars as possible. There won't be a dollar spent that the admin team doesn't both agree with and are in support, fully supporting. If there's any disagreement between the four of us, we'll find another way. So, but we had to pick a number, and the number wasn't going to be 25 grand because we're not buying media. But if we were buying media, I'd be coming looking for 50,
I don't-
75 grand.
I don't think council's probably had an appetite for that this year. Councilor Murray, you have the floor.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to the sign up, you've done it before. Like, is it just you have to text a number, or like you have to take, like, how much information I guess has to go into that?
Yeah, I'm a privacy specialist
Yeah.
within marketing.
Yeah.
And it is the most minimal amount of information collected to
Yeah.
do the job.
Yeah.
And there's signed privacy policies within Voyant Alert. It is not used for anything. They don't keep it. We keep it.
And is it always the same, like, phone, when you get your text, is it always the same phone number? Just because obviously nowadays in 2026, like, I get texts all the time and everyone else gets texts as like, hey, I'm messaging you because your phone bill has to be paid. And so it's like, if it's the same number every time, where every time it comes from 1-800, whatever it is, and that way, once again, the people, especially like our older community, I wouldn't want to start this whole thing up and then all of a sudden they're getting random messages because there's scammers out there in 2026, which,
Capiche.
yeah.
Capiche.
Yeah.
Here's a boil water
Yeah.
order. That's
Okay.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's always from the same number,
Okay.
and that's typically what
Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. Nope.
So Mr. Lackey's off the mic, but he said it is always from the same number for
Yes.
those, anybody watching the live stream.
Yeah. So,
this is what an actual text looks like.
Yeah.
That's my boil order for all of them.
yeah. So he gets everything, which is good. That's, like I said, I said, especially in like an older community, this is probably going to be used by a lot of older residents that might not use social media. So I'm always kind of more partial to worrying about them and getting scammed in 2026.
Sure.
I guess some of the stuff, like I said, I know not to rehash everything we already kind of went through. To me, it'd be good obviously to have it at try to do some signups at some community events, whether it's at the Irish Town Community Center, the one over on over Magnetic Hill, over on Lakeside, wherever. I think that's a good idea. For me, and I'm just like, when I added up the stuff, I know it's not an exact, but it came up to like 8,500. But like stuff like promotional items for giveaways and volunteer appreciation and stuff, I don't really have an appetite for that. Not that I don't appreciate volunteers, but if you're volunteering, it's because you're volunteering. You're not volunteering to get a bunch of swag and get a free meal and stuff. It's just, once again, as somebody that volunteers a lot, hundreds and hundreds of hours a year, I don't think that is kind of needed, but, yeah, like I said, it'd be good to get it out there. I don't want to see us roll it out and not do anything, but obviously maybe just have to dial it back. But yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, Councillor Martin.
Just to put it out there so we're on the page. I agree, we do need a rollout. I think we'll have to sit down and look at the numbers. That's where we're at. That's where I'm at, sorry.
CEO Downey?
Is it okay if I just try to sum up what was just said and just try to bring everybody on the same page? So the committee heard Mr. Lackey's presentation. The committee made the recommendation that this cost be approved. And I said that I would like council to be on board with the amount that we're gonna be spending. Now, there's a couple of things that I wanna say. One of them on the volunteer appreciation, I agree, it's just like a line item to kind of fill in what that could look like. Now, we just did an Easter basket. We had record-breaking numbers because people wanted this Easter basket. Yes, it cost Maple Hills a little bit of money, but we bought the things locally. But the traction we got on the Easter basket was incredible. So if if one of these line items turn into, instead of volunteer thank yous, which I think is just a kind of a space taker-upper, if we committed to $500 of giveaway stuff, how people would react to that through Facebook or whatnot. So if it was a click this link, sign up for Voyant Alert, everyone who signs up can have a chance to win this. So I think those are the things that council have to have the trust that the administration is not gonna spend money frivolously on things. But I wanted to bring it all back to the committee's making this recommendation. We're sort of doubling up here, where now we're taking it out of the committee's hands and we're putting it back in council's hands to make the decision. So the committee made the recommendation, so now I have to give an update to the committee of what councils, if council are gonna take the recommendation or not. So if you have more questions related to this, it would be, I guess, the time to get everything clear, because at the next meeting, April 21st, council will have to make the decision of whether or not we're signing up for Voyant Alert, because there's a subscription that I'm not going to sign the subscription unless council is on board with the Voyant Alert, which I would have council do by motion. So I guess this is the time where it just made me think of that, Councillor Martin, when you said we have to look more at the costs. If council could approve a cost, then all of the small things are not gonna go back to council or back to the committee to say, are you okay with us spending $500 on this banner? There's a point where we have to move forward and keep trekking. So I think the best option is for council to establish a cost that they're okay with spending out of the EMO budget. That's my recommendation is we establish a cost that council is going to approve that we spend out of the EMO budget.
Okay, so maybe what I'll ask then, Deputy Mayor Sutwa.
Question to CEO Downey. After, let's say we spent $5,000 on Voyant, what's left in the budget?
Our total EMO budget this year is $15,900.
Okay. Then my other question is, what's the most that you're comfortable spending on that remaining $10,000? And would like $7,000 suffice? Would $5,000 suffice?
I'm not sure, is the only honest answer I can give. We would make that 7 go as long as we can, but we may have to come back and say, We've got lots of things we want to do, but we don't have any budget to do them anymore. That's why we allowed for 10. We thought it was a reasonable budget to do all the things we needed to do for the launch. But if we would work with whatever you want to give us and do the best we can with it, and again, the immense staff would be every step of the way. Not a cent would be spent without them approving it. And the bills will not come to Lackey, the bills will come to Maple Hills. So when we do production and stuff, we'll have them bill direct. We'll have a little budget in there for our time, but other than that,
Thank you, that's the answer.
Okay, we're going to go one more round, give everybody one more chance if they have something they'd like to add. Councillor Jean Gras.
So we hear quite often, you know, you plan the work and then you work the plan. And I think right now we're not doing the first part. And so that means we have a lot of questions about the second part. And I don't want to be in a position where we do some kind of performance measurement later and we find out that, oh, well, we spent tens of thousands, or we spent 10,000 and, you know, we had 100 people sign up. You know, to me, that's, it's not a good use of the funds. And so I'm just wondering, a couple of things. One, do we have to tender for this? That's the first thing. And I guess second, are there other organizations or other companies that have done this and we can go to them as opposed to getting a lot of non-answers or I don't knows?
You want an answer from me of whether
Yeah.
we need to tender for this?
He's asking.
We
Yeah.
don't have to tender for this because it's under the threshold.
Okay.
And what was your second question?
The second question was,
Is there another
we're getting a
organization?
lot of, you know, I don't knows. Are there companies that actually, you know, do this sort of thing?
I will say probably a lot of the I don't knows are because we haven't gotten into that part of where we're gonna sit down and say, okay, how are we gonna get the best bang for our buck as an admin team with the help of the committee. So it feels like we're taking a little bit of the responsibility of the committee and we're kind of giving it right back to council. And it feels a little murky right now. Because when we have prices for, let's say, those banners, when we have prices, then we say, okay, well, you know what, we're gonna commit one of those to Voyant Alert so that whoever's going to the next breakfast can take this with them. I think that's where a lot of the I don't knows are, because we haven't proceeded with this process enough to sit down and say, where are we gonna spend the money? Are we gonna do a giveaway? How are we gonna attract people? That's probably where the I don't knows are. And if the question is, if there's other organizations that do this, I'm sure there are, and we can tender this out and put it out, but we're not gonna be looking at 15,000.
Yeah.
Or 10,000, we're gonna be looking at, nobody's gonna wanna give their time to do it. It's gonna be tens of thousands more than that to have somebody tackle this.
Yeah, I'm still apprehensive about moving forward on something like this without some answers to those I don't knows. And I understand the need for this, but I also understand that council should have the answers first. Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
First, I want to say thank you for everything. In listening to other councillors and mayor and deputy mayor and CAO Downey and our presenters talking about this, the recommendation, the ask from the committee basically is a budget to roll this out. For my position, I believe there does need to be a budget to roll this out. In light of what Councillor Jean said, I would like to see some more. I know you basically had to put forth of a quick, this is what we can do for this money. I'd like something a little more specific that we could talk about.
I think the point he was trying to make, though, is if we want a more specific budget, we're agreeing to hiring him and allowing it to proceed. It's not a quote for us to make the decision, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's because of the time and effort involved in making a detailed and elaborate budget. We would only get that should we choose to proceed. That's what I understood? Yeah.
Yep. Then I'm going to sum this up really quick. There does need to be funds set aside to roll this out. It's for the benefit of the residents in the case of emergency, that they have the information they know. On the other hand, I do want to see funds left in that in case something does come up. My position, I would be comfortable with the $8,000 mark on this, is where I sit.
Okay. Councilor Murray or Deputy Mayor Savoy, did you have anything else? Councilor Murray.
Once again, we've kind of talked about it a lot, but we are obviously very frugal in our spending and how we do our budget cuts. It's how we've kind of been able to keep the tax rates low for the last while. You heard us complain about, a grant request for $800 when we only give $500, which $10,000 is our entire grant request money for the year. So that's, we're asking for $10,000 just for this rollout. So I said, I think that's where a lot of people would have issues, just where it's a recurring cost. Like every year we'll have $5,000 plus another $2,000 or whatever it's going to be to do this every year. So it's it is a lot without even getting into the higher priced advertising. I'd probably be more in the, $5,000 range. I think you get a lot done with that, with advertising and going to events and this and that, a banner and a couple other things. Once again, it's not for me to say I don't appreciate volunteers. Once again, I do, as I am one, and I try to recruit them all the time. But like I said, the appreciation thing, I'd probably cut out some of that stuff. And I think you probably, with $5,000, still probably get a lot done by hitting a lot of the events that we were kind of talking about. So, yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming the goal was at the next meeting, we would pass a motion to, was that the plan?
I would like a motion from council to sign up for the subscription for Voyant.
Okay.
But that's not it, because the rest of the money is already budgeted, so I don't require a motion. I just wanted to take the opportunity as a committee, the whole, to discuss
Okay.
that, the rest of it.
Okay. So I guess I'm just asking, like, what are are you, at the next meeting, are you asking us to?
I would kind of like council to make a decision this evening on an amount.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I guess that said,
Is it possible I could jump in for a second?
sure.
I'm going to speak as your coordinator for emergencies. The contingency fund we have for EMO basically falls on my lap here for a little bit. I'm doing the follow-up on this out of that budget. It's already paid for. We have a retainer that we gave you guys. So there is no cost for me to finish this process. So within that budget and my time, it's already looked after. I can only stress, we've done this amount of work and incurred this amount of expense, and it's only valid when you can pass this information to the person that needs it. And it's not a question of a volunteer organization, it's life safety shit, pardon the expression. You're only gonna get to use this when you have another fire, when you got an earthquake, a road closure, a flood, something, an emergency. That's a tough dollar value. When I looked at this thing, I'll be honest with you, my initial thought was, boy, this could be pricey. But what we have in front of you, and it's only what we, because I'm on the committee, what we said was, this is just a budget. It's not a commitment to spend it. It's the number we can work to, and we'll get the maximum we can out of it. But honestly, there's no point in me proceeding to the next two phases if we can't talk to the people we have to talk to. Let's be honest. We could spend all the petition money you want with Voyant or Maple Hills Alert, but if there's no process for them to sign on to it, you're not talking to them. We'll go back to Facebook. And that was a huge problem in the Irishtown fire. So this is a life safety statement. This is not something that we're talking about, whether some volunteer's going to get some merch or something. Volunteer might be a bottle of water if we're using them for that. That kind of support for volunteers. It's not going to be in their pocket.
Well, I think, Jim, you have to understand that the reason these questions came up is because that's not what it says on this. I mean,
I know, but
like-
I'm going to tell you I'm just telling you from my side of where it goes.
I know, but I think you need to understand from our perspective that we went into this with we're going to roll out Voyant, it's $5,000, and now we've been handed a new proposal for an additional 10 that we weren't prepared for, and we had questions about what was in it. We don't disagree with you
budget.
that it needs to be rolled out.
It's
We
just a budget.
have questions about where the money's going.
Okay, and my urgency to that is, my program grinds to an abrupt halt. If we can't communicate with the other half, the last part of our project was how do we tell those people that need it, what we know. We are the emergency measures organization. This council is that organization. And when we know that all heck's breaking loose out in the field and we need to initiate something with our citizens, this is the way it has to be done. So this is one way to do it. We know that the ones that are out there now don't work. We know that even the Voyant Alert ones don't work because we've been talking to every community that's got it. We've been on every webpage. There's many things we can do. But the budget items, that's just a budget. I'd love to be able to do it all with that number, but I don't think we can swing it. We may need one banner, we may need 10. I don't know. I'm not in that committee part. But I can only stress to council the urgency of getting it out there.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
Thank
think
you.
CAO Downey's request was for us to determine a number that we are comfortable with them proceeding with. Is that what you're? Okay. So Deputy Mayor Savoie.
So seeing that this is gonna be, it's gonna be a multiple year thing, all right? And you guys have to understand that it's the timing of the budget request. I'm suggesting we accept $5,000, we roll out for whatever you can for $5,000. And next council that gets elected will put in the budget for next year a higher amount that can include whatever needs to be included. But I'm suggesting that we start for the first time with 5,000.
Okay. Councillor Martin.
This question is for CAO Downey, actually. The concern, obviously, is what would the next council do, and we don't want to leave the next council in a bind by any means by using the entire $15,000 that's in that budget. $5,000 set aside essentially for the Voyant Alert and $10,000 remaining. If we were to say go ahead with the 5, new council comes along, more is needed, they're comfortable with it, can a motion then come forward to?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily need another motion if we had another committee of the whole where we discussed it, we're still struggling here, if we can put out, a radio ad or something.
Okay.
It's not my forte, so I don't even know if that's like an option. But it could be the new council, or it could be like, hey, we're in October and
A check-in.
we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's spend
Okay.
let's spend some more of our EMO budget. Could look like something like that.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, my big concern is just using all the money that's in that budget for the current year. I'll be very honest, I want to make sure there's money left over. The rainy day fund, I guess, in that one.
So Councillor Martin, I think we all sort of agreed to
Yeah,
that. We're looking
5,000.
for a number.
5,000 with the idea that we can, if needed, halfway through check-in, bring it forth again.
Okay, so Councillor Murray, you're good with that? Councillor Jean-Gras?
We're just throwing money at something, but sure.
Okay, so it sounds to me like council is comfortable with a $5,000 budget for rollout. And I guess, yeah, to the point of Councillor Martin, if we get into the fall and we have money left and you need more, and then let's look at it then, but I think that seems to be where the comfort level sits right now. Okay.
Thank you. That gives us some direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming, guys. Okay, so that gets us through, this off. And then this one. Okay. Okay, so the next item is Community Investment Fund, and there wasn't an attachment for that one.
Oh, I'm very sorry. We didn't get that set up. We ran out of here on Thursday before Good Friday, quite quickly. Okay, so this is, we actually got a call from RDC to let us know that there were some available SIF funds, so the Community Investment Fund. That's the funds that are allotted to the MLAs. So we were notified that one of our MLAs had some extra money, so we said, yes, we will definitely put in an application. So we got an application in towards fitness equipment for the fitness center upstairs. And we were awarded that $7,500. Essentially, the province's end of the year is March 31st, so just before that, we were notified that we were would be awarded the $7,500. And I wanted to put this on the agenda because the contribution was made available through MLA Monaghan. So I guess I just wanted that on record that the money came through SIF fund through Monaghan, MLA Monaghan.
Okay,
Not the
great.
same picture you posted with.
No, so actually, yeah, there was a little confusion around that, and even for myself.
Sorry.
So at the beginning of the province's fiscal year, MLA, Minister Boudreau had gotten us some RDC funding. But she only asked me for the picture last month. So the same time that we found out about MLA Monaghan's funds, I was asked for a picture from Minister Boudreau for the funds that she had supplied. So yes, there was confusion that who the money came from, but MLA Boudreau helped us last spring and MLA Monaghan got us some more funding this March. So yes, the picture was confusing, you're correct.
Exactly, and we'll continue to apply for the SIF fund every year. And where we have two MLAs, it's to our benefit, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so, and I actually was speaking to MLA Monaghan the day that I found out, and I did let him know that we were very appreciative, so. So the next item on the agenda is We Stand With Survivors campaign, and there's also no attachment, so,
Okay, so this one I don't have an attachment for it. It's just, we were approached last year by the Jade Center for the municipality to support their We Stand With Survivors campaign. Last year, for the month of May, we had the banner displayed on the fence outside. We just hung on to the banner to display it this year. And we'll also have posters in the change rooms and probably, we have a bulletin board coming for the entryway. If we have it in time, we'll have one out there. So essentially, the Jade Center, they partner with many different municipalities to support just, to get their name out there. So it's a sexual violence organization, not-for-profit.
okay.
I wanted council to be aware when they see that banner outside, you may have residents that say, what the heck is that? We're not a Jade Center, we're just supporting what they do.
I do recall seeing those last year.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So the next item on the agenda is a Plan 360 report. Again, that's just for our information, so unless anybody had any questions on those. All right, and the final topic is,
Oh, I just have one question.
oh, sorry.
The, because I'm just looking at the numbers for subdivisions. Like, 4, is that like 4 new subdivisions? Or 4 build in the subdivision?
I think it's 4 subdivided lots. So it's not necessarily, it could be a lot that got split
Oh,
into
okay,
to make 2
okay,
building
okay,
lots.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Excuse me, yeah, the wording is a little confusing, but each time they would do a subdivide of a property in Maple Hills, that
Okay,
would be,
It's
yeah.
not an added 40
No,
house.
no, no. Okay, and the last item is for us to go into closed session, and sorry, I don't see we usually quote the The topic under the act that
Okay,
we're using for closed session.
For the record, there are two parts of the act, so Local Governance Act, Section 68(1)C and 68(1)J.
Okay.
It's because it's listed as A and B, so it might not show.
Ours doesn't say anything.
Yours doesn't show, okay.
Okay.
So it is contract negotiation and labor and employment for those that do not know Section 68(1) of the Local Governance Act.
Okay, so it would now take a motion for us to enter closed session. Move? Yeah, yeah, well, once we,
I'll move.
okay, moved by Counselor Savoy. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Counselor Jean Gras. Are we ready for the question?
Question.
We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of entering closed session show your consent by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay. So I only did it that way because